everybody, and welcome back to the Inverted Castle. I'm your host, Eric Fox, and joining me is a man who is known as Dragon Warrior in Japan, Mr. Thomas Blight.
Oh god, I forgot the name of the hero. No, can't do that gag. Oh well.
Erdrick?
Yeah, it was something else in one of the games. I feel
Probably.
like the Nintendo translated ones had some weird, like Leon or something, because they needed to fit 4 characters.
Probably.
That's a tangent that I'm going down.
Alright.
So, getting us back on track,
Yes.
we were playing Dragon Slayer 2 Xanadu,
Yes.
a game released in 1985. Oh man, I haven't done my research.
1985 for the PC-88 by Falcom, who people might know better as the people behind Ys and the Legend of Heroes series. Trails of Cold Steel is still being made to this day. But this is one of their early joints, and it, not to spoil anything, shows.
Yeah, 85 turns out was kind of a different era in video games in ways that I maybe didn't exactly respect.
Yeah, this is 35 years ago from, at least when we're playing and recording today. And it predates, like the original Metroid by some years, and, so the fact that we're playing it at all was kind of like, we had heard that it's kind of a prototype to certain Metroidvania-ish concepts, but boy is it a tough one to play.
Yeah, it only predates Metroid by 1 year. Metroid's in 86.
Really?
But yeah, I didn't do my research completely on this. I took someone's list and was like, oh, this is a precursor. Let's check this out. I have regrets.
We all have regrets about Dragon Slayer 2. I'm gonna almost say Warrior every time. That's all I can think, but maybe I'll just shorten it to Xanadu.
Yeah, that's what a lot of things seem to refer to it as.
Yeah. Any Samuel Taylor Coleridge fans in the house?
Yeah, just for thoroughness, I was playing Dragon Slayer 2 Xanadu on the MSX. Eric was playing it on the PC-88.
OG.
When I looked at some images for it, I actually saw like completely different art than what I saw. So now I'm kind of curious to see what the art you had looked like.
Scanline heavy. Did the graphics look better? Like, are you talking about game, like, parts of the game, or like just the little images from when you're talking to like the king?
Parts of the game.
And it looked good?
I mean, it was early sprite art, but it looked decent at the MSX.
This game did get a sort of re-release on the Saturn in Japan as part of a Falcom's Classics, where they had a sort of like up-resed or just sort of remade the graphics for the Saturn version. So you might have seen that stuff. Because I can tell you, what I saw was very rough.
I don't know, looking at these screenshots, you and I may have been playing something that looked entirely different.
Interesting. Well, but anyway. So, this game looks rough, like when you're playing the game. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. You play this game as some guy that the king says, here's some money, go get trained up and slay the dragon who live in the hole. And so you do that, you just like run through a series of buildings, like going in, hey, this is the strength place, pay gold for stat. And then you go through strength, agility, intelligence, all the good stuff. Magic resist is very important. Not all of them increase at the same rate, but you go in the hole, and if, at least on the version I was playing, you have to know that there's some copy protection, and if you don't scroll the screen to the left just enough to get the shaft off the screen and then immediately turn back right, you can never start the game. You will just fall endlessly. I think after a certain number of times it'll reveal a ladder, but trying to play this game with no guide at first was an exercise in first, what the fuck are these controls, and then two, where is the game, please? I'm stuck in the hole. But yeah, you buy items, and then it's a side-scrolling like dungeon crawl almost, where you're in a series of caves that like wrap horizontally, and also do some fun things like teleport you, or like scroll infinitely. If you find certain spots, you can just fall infinitely again. And you go through different towers. The towers are more like Zelda 1 style, except all they have are enemies and items. It's hard to explain when there's so little that you're actually doing. It's you side scroll, and then there's the sort of like top downish situations when you're in battle, and towers are just a series of battles. And battles in this game are you kind of rub your face against the enemy and Rochambeau until you win, or optionally you can cast a spell. You can only equip one at a time. There's no MP, so you can just do it forever, but the animations start to take a while. And whether or not you kill them with Rochambeau or with your one spell, you get experience in either fighter or wizard separately. And you can level up fighter and wizard concurrently, and the only way to progress is to get your level up. The doors are locked until you reach level thresholds that the game does not tell you.
Yeah, and actually one of the weird things is that on the MSX version, they added a stat that I don't understand what it's supposed to be. CST.
Oh yeah, instead of getting money from the king, you just get points that you just like, okay, yeah, use these at the shops to like basically like give out your stat points.
Yeah, and so when I leveled up, if I leveled it up at the king, I got the CST to spend. But if you level up at one of the temples, then you just got stats based on whether it was a fighter level or a wizard level.
Yes, fighters get strength and like agility, obviously. Wizard gets intelligence and magic resist. Yeah, oh man. In order for me to get back to the king, like, from the first level, like you go down, you get into the cave, first level, there's no way back, at least it doesn't seem like there is. You need to go to one vertical shaft in the middle of the level, know that, okay, I can fall infinitely here, but if I like have some crackerjack timing and hit the enter door key, which is spacebar, obviously, as I fall past the door, that's how I get back to the surface and the only item shop in the game.
Yeah. There's I guess there's not other general items, right?
No,
shops.
you can. Yeah, there's the equipment you can buy, like shields, armor, and weapons, and and different magic spells, which all basically do the same thing.
Yeah, I re-rolled a couple times to see the effects of different stats. By far, my most successful run is when I put a single point into Dex, and put it into everything else. Dexterity, it turns out, at least as far as I could tell, only affects how slowly or fast you open treasure chests. So, it was like 5 seconds to open a treasure chest that an enemy dropped. I was strong, and that wasn't very much of a problem.
Okay, yeah, so let's get into the combat, because that's such a time waste in this game, because, again, as I said, you don't really have much control over it. Like, you kind of move your character around, and then it kind of, as you rub your face against them, it does a bunch of, like, hidden dice rolls to see, like, which attacks are connected, how much damage it does, and gives you a little feed in the thing of, like, oh, hit for 100 damage, or whatever.
Yeah, there's, I kept trying to figure out if there was actually some, mechanics there where, if I rubbed on an enemy's corner, then I would hit them and they wouldn't hit me back or something. I don't I don't think that's true.
No, if you're hitting them when they're like if they're facing a different direction, I think that's better, and they're not like actively hitting you.
Yeah.
This obviously only accounts for enemies that don't cast magic, and oh boy.
Yeah,
So like it's doing a bunch of hidden rolls, and eventually like you'll just hit them, they hit you, back and forth. Every encounter, like if you're on the side-scrolling bits, which is like the general like meta dungeon almost, you run into an enemy, then it transitions to a top-down thing where you fight between 1 and 9 copies of that enemy. There are never any like different like enemy formations, other than where that same enemy is placed multiple times. And
yeah, although multiple enemies like multiple types look like the same thing. Like there was like Goblin 200, which was fine, but Goblin 500 would fuck you up.
Yep. Sometimes enemies just have more powerful versions of themselves, and you have to look at the readout of just a bunch of numbers to know, okay, that's their health, and what order they're in is inscrutable. You don't know which accounts to what until you start hitting them. But like every single one of them drops a chest, which will contain some amount of gold generally, and if you kill the last one with a single target attack, either your single target magic or you're just smashing your face against them, then there'll be an item of different value, sometimes a lot of gold, well, a lot in quotations, or an item like the spectacles, which give you more detailed stats, or a potion, which is so necessary to keep you alive in these huge dungeon crawls. But like, they all do, so the fact that I'm hearing that you have slow chest opening animations, when what this game is grind until you're strong enough, it's gonna take a while, and the fact that it takes even longer just to get the rewards to stave off entropy.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of annoying, and I did end up putting some points into it later, just to make it a little faster. But the other thing, and I guess the really useful thing about enemies dropping the chests, is that the chests body block for you.
They do, and that's crucial.
So it was kind of convenient being able to walk into a chest without opening it. Because, like, I could hit a chest, move around it, and not really be afraid of the fact that my cover would suddenly be gone.
Yep.
Which is a weird side perk of this slow chest opening.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of control in the combat. Like, so this game controls with the numpad, and strangely enough, in the side-scrolling sections, you have 8 directional movements. You can do a little like corner, like a little jump to the top right or top left.
Yeah.
But in the like top-down sections, only cardinal directions, baby.
Yeah.
At least in the version I played. I can't speak to the MSX.
The version I played let me use the arrow keys.
Oh man, lucky you. I tried using the arrow keys and it kept giving me weird symbols. I think they were hotkeys for different spells I didn't have.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, I guess, with chests that I wanted to mention is that starting out I was using magic a lot because I could not understand the rubbing it on each other combat. And if you magic at a chest, it just destroys it.
Yes, and it just says unlucky or something like that.
Yeah, so I broke a lot of chests before I got the hang of things.
Yep. One thing to note is that there isn't an infinite amount of anything in this game. Enemies will, in the side-scrolling sections, will respawn 4 times and no more. In all of the little mini dungeons called towers that you'll need to run through for items and occasionally key items and bosses. They're one and done. So if you destroy that chest, that's gold you just don't have.
Yeah, that's it's a little rough.
Yeah. But there is some cool things about this game. Like I was talking about in the side scrolling when you're trying to explore the dungeon. It's a lot of BS. But there is movement tech.
Yeah, I found that a little strange, the movement tech stuff. But it
Yeah.
seemed like it really wanted me to do it because like there were a couple places, especially in the second layer, which is the furthest I got to.
Oh, I got as far as World 5, baby.
Oh,
But I only did that after I got to World 3 natural style, and then I'm just like, okay, I just need to like mess around with this game a little bit, and I cheated myself all of the gold, just to see, okay, what are all the different spells like? What does it look like when I'm dealing a bunch of damage and not getting hit? Turns out magic still will destroy you because armor doesn't do anything. And magic will eventually just be, okay, it hits everything in the room. Just spam that because otherwise I'm just dying.
oh yeah, that actually gets to there very quickly. It's the second spell can do that.
Yeah.
Although then there's enemies that are then immune to that spell, so you have to upgrade.
The only reason is that, oh, this doesn't do anything now. I think the first enemy I saw was the fire elemental that just was not affected by your starting needle shoot beam.
Yeah, that
And
one's affected by deluge, and I don't know that it's affected by anything else.
Probably not. Like, deluge is just a water spell and it's fire. Makes sense.
You can attack it.
You eventually get a non-elemental hit everything spell, but it's mad expensive, so you probably don't see it till late game. Yeah, there's certain spots in World 2 and World 3 where you could theoretically just buy an item called the Winged Boots and let you fly over it, but you can also do a weird thing where you kind of jump to the right, and for a frame, if you hit jump to the left, you then do a little triangle jump, and you can like climb these little overhangs using it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Shame about the rest of the game.
Speaking of that, I guess that's like the most Metroidvania-esque element of this is the items for navigating on the overworld.
Yeah, because you get a few. You get the Winged Boots to kind of fly, but you can also get the Matic, which will just destroy parts of terrain.
Yeah.
Which you can use to like just bypass certain like walls if they're annoying. Like not every wall, but most of them seemed susceptible to it. But also, since you can only aim like directly below you or below you and in front, its use was limited.
Oh, you can't diagonal shoot it?
Not like diagonal below you. You can't shoot it right in front of you is the thing.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah. And then there's the mantle, which will let you just pass through walls or climb through walls or the little pillars around the level. It's got some stuff. It doesn't explain any of this, and this is one of the things where I could not imagine what the manual looks like.
Oh man, I bet the manual's super thorough.
Apparently, at least for the MSX version, it'll list like potential like builds, and they name them, and like, oh, you can try this for this style of combat. The warrior, don't invest anything in int or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Which is a bad idea. You need magic for this game. Not only because certain enemies just will like machine gun you down with their ranged, no travel time magic that just pierces armor, but also because since this game requires that you hit level thresholds, investing all the way in one tree, basically, like if it's just you're getting fire levels, the way that experience levels scale means that it's going to get harder and harder and harder to reach those caps without a furious amount of grinding.
Which is also limited, as you said before.
Which is also limited, and is also subject to this sort of attrition-based gameplay of I need to fight enough things to get strong enough so that the gold I'm getting is not just getting always reinvested in getting my health back so I can then fight more things. I need better stuff, so I need to get a profit here.
Capitalism, the RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this game is mean.
Did you actually fight the bosses in the levels?
I did.
Yeah. I only fought the octopus,
hey,
and was
guess
rather
what?
annoyed that the octopus is apparently immune to all of the magic I had. Maybe I didn't have high enough int, or maybe needed higher level magic. I don't know.
Good luck. The game's not going to tell you, so good luck, motherfucker. Get better. Get your numbers up. Maybe you didn't level up the specific magic enough.
Oh yeah,
because that's a thing this game does.
Yeah, there's also hidden, or I mean, it's not super hidden. You can look at your experience rank with different weapons and items and spells.
Every item, every weapon, every armor, every spell has individual experience that you're leveling it up with. And you can check it. There's no label, so you just have to, it's just a series of numbers, and even if you don't have it, it'll just show 0000. And you just have to know that, the 7th item in this list corresponds to, Thunder spell. Cool. I guess that number's going up. Or, if you use Winged Boots enough times, by the 4th time I had, twice the time with it.
Yeah.
But, good news about the boss front. I fought 2 of them. They were both the Kraken.
Oh.
Yeah.
So maybe there aren't, multiple bosses. There's just the Kraken.
There's a Kraken. I think there's another one in World 5, which I never actually got to, and then there's King Dragon, at the very least, at the end. He's the dragon man who live in the hole. He's the guy we're supposed to slay to Xanadu.
Yeah. Putting this game into some context. So it released in 1985. Other games that released in 1985, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this.
Hell yeah.
Yi Ar Kung Fu.
Yi Ar Kung Fu.
Foundation for modern fighting games. Paperboy, Gradius, Commando.
Are these
Ghosts
the arcades?
Yeah, this is the arcade list. Ghosts and Goblins, Gauntlet, Space Harrier. The non-arcade list of notable titles: Super Mario Bros., Duck Hunt. Why is this only Nintendo? Is this? I guess maybe this is during the collapse of the console.
Around that time, I think.
On computers, Ultima 4.
Okay.
Hydlide 2, which my understanding is Hydlide is very similar to Dragon Slayer.
Yes, it is. It's like a top-down action RPG.
Yeah. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh, man.
The Oregon Trail original.
The original release of Oregon Trail. Okay.
Yeah. And so, this is sort of on the cusp of a lot of changes. A lot of the things that we know actually come out in 1986.
Yes.
So particularly Metroid and The Legend of Zelda are both in 86.
Right, and this is, you said Super Mario Brothers? Or just the, multiplayer pipe game?
This is Super Mario Bros. Yeah, the first platformer, not the multiplayer pipe game.
Okay. So we had good games. This game has no excuse for being like it is.
I mean...
I'm kidding.
That's fair. I don't know. I think it was trying to accomplish something pretty specific based on, the probably early D&D.
Yeah, it really reminds me more of a wizardry-style dungeon crawl than any sort of Metroidvania. And also, a very important thing to keep in mind is that we're standing on 35 years of history and hindsight. If I start getting my dander up, I am doing so with the knowledge that I'm looking at it through a modern lens and not trying to say that, oh man, what were they thinking at the time?
Actually, D&D was already pretty old by this point. Man, D&D came out in 74.
Yeah, this would have been around AD&D?
Yeah, that sounds right. I do not understand all of these acronyms. BECME was the current version of Dungeons and Dragons.
I'd rather not beck you, honestly.
BECMI, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
unfamiliar.
AD&D second edition was 89.
Oh, okay.
So not for a while.
There were NES games that were based on that, but I guess still a bit early.
Yeah, so definitely they were trying to evoke that particular feeling. So I don't consider this a Metroidvania.
No, although I'm having trouble really explaining definitively why, but I just know when I'm playing it, I'm not getting the same feeling at all. It's like there is exploration, but that's only in service of the core gameplay of grind until your numbers are big, loser.
Yeah. I mean, the items are at least interesting to get, though I don't know if you really need to solve any puzzles with them. I suppose solving puzzles, getting past fire elementals by getting magic is sort of like that.
I mean, you can just fight fire. You can just rub up against them and beat fire down with your dagger.
The fire 100 was very strong, though.
Oh yeah, but it's like a stat check rather than a puzzle to be solved.
That's fair.
And also, all the items in the game are available to you from the get-go, provided you have money and the charisma to make them affordable enough. Later spells are obviously just combat upgrades, but you can get boots or the Matic from the get-go and just kind of or the lamp, which is I would say necessary. Technically it's not, but most towers you enter are just pitch black. You don't even know where the doors are.
Yeah.
The towers are just a series of square rooms. They all look the exact same. They just have different monsters and items in them occasionally. And
that
locked doors out the wazoo.
Speaking of the doors in the towers.
Did you get locked in?
No. Although that is possible. And
that is so possible. Because you'll enter a room,
issue.
you unlock a door, enter the room. The door leading back is a separate door that also has a lock on it. If you don't have enough keys, you're done.
When I was first delving into it, I was having a lot of trouble going through the doors. I don't know, you needed a pretty pixel perfect alignment on them. And so the first thing I was okay, it looks like this door was open, but I'm not getting through it. Is there some kind of weird mechanic that I'm not understanding where I haven't actually cleared this room to be able to get through the door or something? I don't know.
It's that kind of game where you're not sure if there's an arcane mechanic for the simplest things.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, when you're in the top-down section, control is very acute. You can go pixel up, pixel down, and you have to be dead on, otherwise you're just running into a wall. Whereas, at least for the version I played, side-scrolling, it's almost tile-based, where the way the screen scrolls is very choppy.
Yes.
You
running at maybe 8 frames a second.
Which makes the fact that occasionally the level will just teleport you randomly with no animation or real signal, other than the environment changed, except the way the environment changed looks identical to the choppiness of just running around normally. So good luck. This game requires that you draw a map, but also kind of punches you in the eye every time you try to.
I didn't experience that. Is that a thing in the later levels?
Yeah, dude. Not only is it a thing, it is necessary to progress that you find a warp point, to the one door that gets you to the next level. In fact, there's one where you have to take a warp. Well, after you do that, you jump up to take a second warp, and then it puts you in front of the door that if you haven't gotten enough experience and leveled up enough yet, you are trapped.
Oh, fun.
This game is really mean. And we haven't even talked about karma yet. This game has a karma stat about fighting certain enemies. Did you run into any enemies that would give you karma if you fought them?
No, but I think I saw it in the instructions that I read. That was like, don't fight butterflies.
Yeah, don't fight butterflies. In World 3, there's a particularly nasty group of ghosts that sort of teleport around the room and fire magic at you. And so what will happen is you're trying to get through it without touching any of them, and then one will just teleport in front of you before you can react, and you just one-shot it because they're actually really weak.
Yeah. And then if you don't have any karma, then you can't level up, I think was the thing.
If you have anything more than 0, so if you kill a single enemy, if you have anything more than 0, you can no longer level up. You can no longer get the final weapon that you need to beat King Dragon. But also just not being able to level up means you can't progress until you get your karma down, which can only be done in increments of 5 from drinking poison.
Yeah, what was with that?
Poison gets a lot more prevalent in later worlds, I will tell you, so it's not like it's a huge problem if you're being careful and not drinking all the poison you see. They'll stick around if you can remember in the 20 by 20 grid samey towers where you left a bunch of poison around. And also enemies drop it, so I'll be running into chests trying to get the drop, and then it was poison. Cool, I lost half my health.
Yeah, that was not fun when they introduced the scorpions.
Yeah.
It's yep, you get shit.
You get shit. In fact, you get worse than shit.
Maybe it was useful if you had karma. I think there was something also saying that you could, if you didn't have gold when you saved, you would get karma.
So here's the thing about saving. So obviously we both played on an emulator, so we were kind of exempt from this.
I didn't use save states, so.
I did, because, or rather, I did after I gained karma trying to save, because to save in this game costs 100 gold per level. And also it's all your levels combined, so if you have 2 fighters and 1 wizard, that's about 300 gold. Every time you want to save. And because this game is very brutal about running into enemies that will just one-shot you, or surround you, and because if you're not facing the enemy, you don't get your shield defense, so it's rough. You want to save often, especially before you enter a dungeon that you're not even sure you can find the way back out of. If you don't have enough gold to save, you get karma every time. And
for me, it also auto-saved when you entered the dungeon.
Oh, when you enter? Okay.
And actually, I have used that a lot, because I'm not sure that one costed you gold.
That might have also happened, but also I think when you enter the boss arena, it also autosaves.
Yes. Which was, nice and a surprisingly, modern thing to do. Of we really shouldn't make you, trudge all the way through this to fight the boss again. We're just gonna save you right before the boss.
Yeah, an actual checkpoint if you squint.
Yeah.
It's, for a game that seems to just not want to explain anything and actively try and mess with the player, is oh, cool. I never had to, but could you, just, leave the boss arena without killing him if it was too tough?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I definitely, made a couple attempts against them and was just oh, okay. Guess I don't have enough potions to take on this, octopus. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, I ended up, because the first boss in level 1 is just not necessary to kill. He guards a strength upgrade.
Yeah.
If he gets there's an item that when you pick it up, it just automatically used, your strength goes up. Cool. So he's not necessary. So I just went to level 2 and then level 3 and then back to level 1 because there's a little shortcut thing.
Mm-hmm.
and then fought him probably quite a bit later than you're supposed to. And then I didn't fight the big Kraken Redux in World 3 until I'd already basically given up on playing this game correctly.
Fair.
Because this game takes hours to get to just like, and it's all the same thing. You're kind of fighting the same enemy, just like clearing out the overworld and going through the towers, which all look the exact same, all the same tiles. Like, it's just a box. There's nothing in them other than numbers that you want to make to go to 0, so your numbers go up.
Yeah.
And the combat is just rub your face against the enemy and try and dodge when they start getting projectile magic. And you can't dodge when you first enter the room because you're in the doorway, so you have to eat a bunch of damage regardless, unless you have a hit everything spell that you spam. It's not fun, and it was not fun in a way that just grates on you after a while, because it's not getting better, and you know in your heart that the game's already shown its whole hand. This is what it is. Your numbers aren't high enough yet. Get better numbers. Even if you buy the best equipment, it's not as good as it's not better than what you had before yet, because you have to level the equipment up.
Yeah, that's fair. You gotta learn how to use your stuff, I guess, is what it was trying to do. But I've never been very big on that type of mechanic in general.
Yeah, it basically made what's supposed to be like, oh, finally, I got enough gold, I can upgrade, let's give them hell, into, oh, I'm actually bad at this for a while, I hope I still have enemies that are killable.
Yeah, clearly you should have been saving all of your magic gloves and I forget what the rod, so that you can go back to them after buying a new thing and level up the weapon. And
yeah, there are items that drop that seem to do nothing unless you're actually paying attention to that one screen with all the numbers and knowing which numbers correspond to which things, so you know that, oh, that number went up, means I got experience, I guess.
Yep.
I kept thinking, like, oh, I got a magic glove. I wonder if it's better than my currently equipped shield, which are gloves. Nope. Doesn't count.
Yeah, that also confused me a lot.
Also, the thing I had to look up is what fire crystals do.
What do fire crystals do? I don't remember.
So the fire crystal is how you teleport back a level. So if you're in level 2 and you want to quickly get back to level 1, you can use one of those, which you need to buy. I think I might have found one naturally. Black onyx is how you go the opposite, which is down 1. But, fun fact, it teleports you to the exact same XY coordinate in the level that you were at in the other one.
Uh-oh.
So, what happened is, every time I tried that, I'd end up in a wall, and it saves, because every time you use one, it auto-saves when you go to a different level. So, I had to be very thankful I had a mantle to just kind of run out of that, but that's a way you can screw your save file up.
Fun times.
It's a lot of... This game sucks ass and I love it, kind of. Like, there's a lot... Like, I hate playing it, but there are a lot of concepts in this game I'm just like, yeah, give me the garbage.
That's like you're a masochist.
I was laughing pretty hard when I ran into those karma enemies in World 3. Just like, oh, these are these enemies. And there's also, in-game, there's no way to check if an enemy gives you karma until you kill it, and then check your karma to see if it's gone up.
It's not something that maybe the lens does, because that would actually be kind of an interesting thing, that the identifier is like, yo, don't kill these.
As far as I could tell, the lens just gives stats of like, okay, yeah, it does this amount of attack, defense, and like HP. It could, because I definitely didn't try. I definitely, because I needed to have anything else equipped. You only get one slot for an item that you have on you that you can use mid-combat. You can't change your equipment mid-combat, so you gotta prepare beforehand. And I needed potions on hand. Otherwise, I was just getting, like, curb stomped, even with end game gear after I gave myself all the gold. Yeah, magic's brutal. There are enemies that will just laser fire. Like, as long as they have line of sight on you, it's instant and it's damage, and it's stealing like a quarter of your entire health bar when I'm at an appropriate level.
Huh. And you didn't then go level all the stats?
Oh, I restarted the game so that I could start the game with maximum, like, the stats from the, like, the king gives you gold and then you can, like, allocate it.
Yeah.
You only get to allocate it up to 100 in each stat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just stops letting you buy more stats, even if you have the gold.
And then even, like, 100 agility and 100 magic resist was still...
Yep.
Getting hit instantly? Man, that's...
Yep.
But... sucks.
Yeah, this game sucks. I kinda love it. Despite what I've been saying and how I've been, yeah.
Have we been dunking on it? Yeah, it was actually, like, kind of fun to play, and... I don't know, like...
Like, I think the two of us, we've played some JRPGs in our time. We're not unknown to the concept of grinding, and the fact that a number going up feels good. I do like having big numbers. The fact is that the biggest number is the time investment, and looking down at my PC clock and realizing, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. And also, like, the sound design is not that good.
You got maybe two music tracks.
Yeah, my wife forbid me from playing it without headphones on because apparently the music track just burrowed into her skull.
Yeah, I turned that off after the second hour, I think. I kept, like, turning it back on to see if it changes if you're in, like, a dungeon or, like, at later levels. At least by World 5, same music. The same little bleeps and bloops when you're running into enemies. It's it was certainly of a time.
Yep.
But man, yeah, so, yeah. Neither of us finished it, and I hope you can see with good reason. Because, man, yeah, apparently you need to get 4 crowns, it's in every odd-numbered dungeon, starting at World 3. There's just one of the towers. Also, some of those start to loop, which also, good luck making maps of them. You need to find whatever boss there is, kill it, and get the MacGuffin, the crown, and then if you don't, you can't get into the final level. And bosses are not foreshadowed well.
Oh yeah, they're just like a room.
They're just a room in a dungeon, or a tower. Sorry. In a tower. And if you don't know that going in, all of a sudden you're just exploring and then boss fight. Good luck. But thankfully you can just escape immediately, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think this is a Metroidvania. You can see some concepts of, oh yeah, you can, like, platform-ish with the clunkiest controls ever, but all the items are available from the get-go. And the core loop, the thing you do most of the time is rub your face against sprites and make your numbers go up.
Yeah, I'm really glad that things embraced, like, having proper animations and, like, swinging weapons at things rather than rub your character up against an enemy.
Yeah, this friction-based gameplay was not really doing it for me. There's actually a spiritual, like, remake on the NES called Xanadu as well.
Yeah.
Famicom Xanadu, which plays a lot more like Zelda 2. It's a side-scrolling, you swing your sword, you got like MP and stuff, but does not have the same like loop in the same way as it's an action RPG. There are actual like individual enemies. There's platforming, and it's not just the same dungeon, the same tile set, the same music forever. Still pretty rough to play, but if you have a choice between one of the two, I know which one I would pick. Oh boy.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that I chose this is that I did research somewhat poorly, I suppose.
You
Since
did this
then,
to me.
I found Jeremy Parish's excellent series Metroidvania Works.
Yes, he's the guy that I guess popularized the term Metroidvania.
Yes, he insists that he did not coin it.
It belongs to the world now.
Yeah, and Metroidvania Works brings up a lot of these, like, sort of early action RPGs. Xanadu and Xanadu showed up in that.
Yeah, I can see why. Like it's one of those things where like Metroidvanias might not exist in the way they do without them, but they don't quite count.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't do the appeal to authority. I'm not going to just take his word.
That's fair. And I mean, he definitely, even though he says Metroidvania is a word that doesn't mean anything and is made up, he definitely has like a distinction between like Metroidvania proper and the precursors.
Yeah, that's just a thing I think most people do with any genre of it's just a collection of points of reference, and where one fits basically just determines like where like it's a personal understanding of how all these things relate.
Yeah.
Definitions are weird, genres are weird. I think we've been over this. But yeah, it was an interesting excursion. Definitely the oldest game I've played, I think.
I don't know. When did Tetris is later, right?
I'm actually not sure.
Tetris is originally 84, so it's 1 year before that.
Yes, I played the NES version. I never played the, I guess, original computer-based one.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if like I don't know, does like Pac-Man count and Missile Command? Does it have to be on its original system?
That's true. I guess I've played those, but this one has a very unique design to it. I was not a Japanese technophile in the mid-'80s, so I can't really appreciate it in the context in which it was made.
You weren't a Japanese kid really into Dungeons and Dragons in 84?
I wasn't even a person in 84.
Yeah,
is actually, yeah. But it's certainly like a thing where your game design tropes hadn't yet come up yet. And so there's like just a lot of things where, oh man, this game has checkpointing as well as random teleports into unwinnable game states. It's weird.
Yep.
But I think we can kind of put this one to bed at this point, unless you have any other niggling criticisms for it.
Yeah, I think we're good with this. We can wrap up.
Okay, so next time, I've been given the honor of choosing our next.
I made a horrible mistake, so you get to choose this time.
And I wanted to make something more modern, definitely, and something that is, I think, more story-based, or at least like it has a much stronger narrative in contrast to this one, which was Kill Dragon Man. Like literally nothing else.
Yeah.
So, have you ever heard of or played the game Iconoclasts?
I have heard of it. I have not played it yet.
Yeah, it was released about 3 years ago. I played through it basically on release. I remember quite enjoying it, but I don't remember, like, how much it counts as a Metroidvania, I think, is up for discussion. But also I remember really being impressed by what the game was, like, trying to tell with its story. So
Cool.
I think, if you're interested, we should play the game Iconoclast by Joachim Sandberg, or Cognac.
Sounds pretty good to me. And I mean, it's got that like GBA-ish art style that I really like.
It's got a very unique art style that I think most of the developers' games has. He's also was the person behind Noi 2 Love 1 and 2. Those games are less Metroidvania, more action platformers. But I think it should be a good time. Definitely
Alright.
more completable than Dragon Slayer 2 Xanadu.
We'll see.
Yeah, something from this decade, definitely. But anyway, I think that's it for me then.
Alright.
I've been Eric Fox,
And I'm Thomas Blight.
and we'll see you next week on The Inverted Castle.